Hi there. My name is Elizabeth Tai from elizabeththai.com. Today, you're going to be watching the first video in a series where I interview creative entrepreneurs like authors and artists about their business, dreams, and challenges. Today, you'll be hearing from Alwyn Lau. He's a Malaysian columnist who recently decided to write a novel. Enjoy. First question is, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience? Could you tell us about yourself, Alwyn?
Okay, that's the hardest question for introvert, but okay, let's do it.
You're introvert. I
yeah,
am
yeah, yeah.
half as a usual.
INTJ. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So I'm Melvin. I am born bred here. Um, Educator, trainer, itinerant writer, columnist, preacher for I don't know, better part of 15 years.
Mhm.
Um, and like most people, I think I've been kind of sidelined since the MCO started. And in the context of this call, what's interesting is that one of the reasons why I decided to push the novel out during the MCO was because maybe it's the sheer boredom of doing nothing and stuff like that. So past couple of years, I mean, I've been every week there's roughly two or three classes. I'm doing training and so forth. So suddenly, when the MCU hits, you just don't, you're not in front of people, you're not speaking to people. So I felt that, yeah, why not get that novel up? But yeah, we can talk about that later on. But yeah, so I'm a KL boy, and I'm happy to do this interview. I don't do that many podcasts, and this is probably only my second one ever, and so on. So
I didn't
thanks
have a
to
first
Liz.
podcast.
Yeah.
So okay, but you left out the fact that you're also quite a popular columnist, a controversial one at times.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. I am a columnist for Malay Mail, and started writing that one probably 4 or 5 years ago. So you're right. I mean, the controversy, to be honest, is not usually sought. Uh, I think I'm one of those naive fellas who, you know, I always felt to write whatever I feel like writing, and I've learned the hard way that maybe some things could be left unsaid, or maybe they shouldn't be, or maybe they should be said a different way. But yeah, I have gotten my fair share of doxing and death threats and love letters and so on and so forth.
That's right.
But yeah, it's. I mean, I wouldn't change. I wouldn't change anything. I mean, I've learned a lot, and I've actually dropped my rate of writing. I think in the past I wrote probably once every week for the past 5 years. So you times 50. That's actually about 300 pieces in 4 or 5 years. Now I'm just mellowed, and I'm just getting middle age, and I'm just really I don't know, just short of ideas and so on and so forth. But yeah, I'm still writing for Millennial.
Okay. The reason why I asked this is because it seems that you often write about politics in the Malay Mail column,
Yeah,
and your novel seems quite influenced by that. So,
yeah.
why did you choose fiction as a way to convey your thoughts? Wouldn't it be easier to write your as per your column style as usual?
Absolutely. Well, okay. Get back to the origins of the novel. And well, the fiction wasn't so much for the sake of the politics lah. The politics was a subset of the fiction. Maybe it would help to explain how the fiction came about, and the really honest, down to earth reason is because as a trainer, one of the mark of good trainers I learned in the past was that you got to fill your sessions with stories, just like preaching and then teaching and so forth. So stories. And for the past 3 or 4 years, I've been telling the same stories, well, more or less, in these sessions. So you have to understand, a training session is average 7 to 8 hours. So within 7 to 8 hours, you end up telling at least 6 or 7 stories. So if And so sometime in, was it May 2019 last year, I decided, hey, all these stories are just, instead of telling them to 30 packs at one time for a day, why not just spill them out? So if you read chapter one and three, for example, or sorry, chapter 1 to 3, this is a author confession. Almost 90% of the stories there have been told in a workshop setting. So
You're repurposing your content,
yes,
so
that's
to
right,
speak.
that's right, exactly. Yeah, repackaging and throwing a bit of yeah. So that was it. It started out because I wanted just to put these stories in kind of public form, and yeah, and it just so happened that it was right after. I mean, we are a year right after 2018, right? Remember, the whole, the furor and the euphoria of GE14, and so you could say it's a perfect storm. On one hand, I wanted to tell our stories, and on the other hand, as you probably experienced as well, after GE14 or during GE14, you probably heard many stories from your friends about G14. Wow, they went here, they did this, and and so you could say that after a while I couldn't tahan. I had to kind of put these stories somewhere, if only to not forget them. So and so yeah, if you go down the line, maybe I don't know, I think down chapter 4 or 5, deeper in, there's a story of a policeman. There's a story of someone at the what do you call those polling stations or something.
Mhm. The
And
pacha.
yeah, and so that's just right, the pacha. And of course, once you tell all these stories about Malaysia, like the politics cannot, you can't avoid, or you can't stop the politics from coming in. You can't, you know, it's just normal lah. It's probably very Malaysian. It would be very un-Malaysian to tell a Malaysian story without mentioning, the politics and the racial issues and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah. f- how would you describe your novel to someone that is not familiar with your story? If a new reader were to come to you, how would you
Yeah.
describe the story?
Uh, all right, I was like, I'll call it a collection, and an amalgamation, or I'm looking for that word. It has a weaving, okay, an interweaving of Malaysian anecdotes,
Hmm.
and one guy's personal, the stories that one guy picked up through
Hmm.
his 40 plus years of staying in Malaysia.
Uh-huh.
I'm actually proud to say that 80% of the stories here are, and I won't tell you which one, but they're actually true stories.
I was about to ask
But
that.
yeah, so and some people who've read it have said that, have asked me about them. So yeah, so in a way, the novella is about that's why I say it's about Malaysia. It's Malaysia seen through the eyes of one person,
Hmm.
and the stories that he has heard, and he's picked it up, and I've picked it up and put them together. And you could say that it is a story of, there is well, it's more than a 40-year gap. It's probably at least 70 years. It covers stories all the way from before the interregnum period, all the way until G14, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so it's a collection of Malaysian stories.
Okay, would you consider it an anthology, or do you really think of it more of a novella, like
Yeah,
one story?
yeah, when I was writing it, definitely I didn't think of it. Okay, this is gonna be anthology. I just it's just yeah, you could say that I was just writing 30 or 40 stories in my head, and I was just putting it together and wondering how to tie it all together. Yeah.
Right. It reminds me a lot about a mosaic novel. It's a really I wouldn't call it rare, but a unique form or unique
Yeah,
type
yeah.
of novel where it's actually different stories and then threaded together. So one of the, I think, more popular ones was this science fiction novel. God, I hope I remember his name. Ray Bradbury.
Okay,
Ray
okay.
Bradbury wrote Mars, I think. Let me Google.
Okay, okay,
Yeah, so I love reading mosaic novels because it's
okay,
like
okay.
a very unique form of it's not the classical three act novel
Mm.
structure that we used to. So it takes a lot of it's fun. It's a very different
Um,
yes, Ray Bradbury Mars.
I
The
could
Martian
the
Chronicles.
Martian Chronicles. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Um,
So, yeah, so it's like a series of different people, different perspectives, different stories, but all threaded together, and it's quite fun to read and write actually.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I could even tell you the two of my main sources that I had in mind when I was doing this. Obviously, the main author that I had in mind was David Mitchell. Cloud Atlas. I mean, if you read
I
Mitchell's
love
work,
Cloud
it's
Atlas.
really all yeah, and I've seen his interviews on YouTube, and he's a very humble and very fun guy, and he always tells his interviewers that what is just an experiment and so on and so forth. And so he was on my mind as I was writing. The other one is not an author, but it's a movie. Crash, the one that
Yeah,
won best. Yeah, yeah. So
is
that's
it a
the one.
controversial one?
Yeah, the
Yes,
rage.
a controversial one.
I'm not the other one.
Oh,
That's
that's true.
yeah, yeah. It is the racial one, not the the
All right,
that
that
one.
one. Sorry,
Yeah,
I was confused on the other one.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's get that one right.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so these yeah, so the with folks like Mitchell and these movies in mind, I figured out, yeah, why not pull things together? Because I confess I have no skill in writing this three act thing, or this huge Colin McCullough, this huge epic stuff, and I know I can't do that, so don't even try that. So yeah, so that's how the novel came about. Yeah,
Yeah, mosaic novels are a rare breed, and I love it when they appear.
yeah,
And you mentioned Cloud Atlas.
yeah,
So many people like, I don't get it, I don't get it. I was like, but it's so cool.
yeah, exactly.
And to be honest, I don't get it either, but I just love the experience of it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, exactly.
yeah, what
No
was
one
the
can beat that guy, lah. I mean,
yeah, yeah, that book can be reread 10,000 times and you
exactly.
still get
And
well.
just a plug for Mitchell. He has a new book coming out this late this year, I think. Yeah.
Hmm.
Anyway.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so how was the experience writing? How long did it take for you to write the book?
All right. Now this one, I was following Stephen King's I don't know his slogan or his
Write every day.
write every day and write 1,000 words a day,
Hmm.
and that was how you keep yourself uh sane, and and that you measure some progress every day. So yeah, so I took about 2 months to write the whole thing. I started, if I'm not wrong, I think in oh no, I think it was, yeah, May 2018, not 2019. I started in late May, right after the GE14, and I wrote every day. And I told myself that as long as I get 1,000-ish pages, sorry, words on the page, I will stop. Because I'm definitely not the kind of writer who can write 5,000 words, and I realized that Stephen King's advice did a lot of good, because after I finished the 1,000 words, I get this lethargy, and I'm okay, enough, and I had to stop. So the next day I come again, and the next day I come again, and so on and so forth. So that's the writing itself. But yeah, because it's the first time I tried to do this novel. I have to admit that plotting it out and weaving the narratives together was not easy. And I have no formula for doing that. You just the drafts, did one, threw one away, did one, threw one away. It just I mean, I wish I was a good three act way of doing it, but I don't think there is.
Mhm.
And yeah, and so I just put it all together. It's like you throw a bunch of colored marbles on the table, and you arrange them and see what comes out. And yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's really all I did.
If there's one thing I learned from my many, many years writing books is that
Yeah,
there's no one way to write a novel.
exactly. Yeah.
There's some people touting, oh, this is the three act structure. You follow this formula, you come up
No
with
way,
a
no
good
way. Yeah,
story. And I'm like, some writers just can't follow that. I'm a
yeah,
pantser. No matter
yeah.
what I do, I plan nicely my plot
Right.
until the ending. My characters will have their own mind and say, nah, I don't want to follow this plot. Then they come to another plot. So
Yeah.
there some writers do that, some writers do that. Yeah. So for you, right? So how? how was the process of, how do you juggle both the creative side where you're writing, with your work, with your daily life, did you stress out?
Well, the good news for me is that as a trainer, a trainer works the way a lion hunts. We work 20% of the time, but very intensely, and 80 or 70% of the time, it's kind of like downtime. So because trainer, I obviously can't be training every day. You will literally collapse. So my training is, let's say, I was saying, 1 or 2 days a week, right? So I got 3 days of kind of like downtime, to plan and whatever I do, some simple admin stuff. So 1,000 words a day for 5 days, given that kind of schedule, is possible for a trainer. I If you're working in HR or finance, I don't think that's possible. It's because that one it's like the ant-like mode. You're actually working like from 8 hours. So that's not it's not gonna happen lah.
Mhm,
But I'm also encouraged by who's the guy's name, the Mountains Echoed, that author, I think Khaled Husseini.
mhm,
And he was a doctor, and I read his biography or something, and he said that he finished his work as a doctor and he came back home and he wrote every night for 1 hour or so. So I think that the therefore the critical part would be that if you make sure you can discipline yourself to give 1 hour, just 1 hour, or maybe 1 hour and a half a day, at least every day or once in 2 days, to write it, eventually you will get there.
mhm.
It's like what Stephen King said, when you build a great wall, it's one brick at a time. So, and I think this is good advice for students as well. Sometimes your assignment is like what, 10,000 words, 15,000 words, right? And a lot of students, they think, okay, I'm going to write 10,000 words. I'm going to take the weekend and write 10,000 words, and that's never going to happen, right? It's not going to happen. You should just take every day 500 words, 500 words, 500, and you will get there. And I think that's the way to go, especially very highly stressed up times, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
So when you write every day, how is it like? Is it first thing in the morning before you go to work, or
Yeah, like you, I'm a morning person. So,
aren't we just annoying? We're really annoying, aren't we?
yeah, right. So that's the first thing I do, because I know that by when afternoon comes, my head will be already to koyak already. So yeah, so usually I come in, anything urgent, I get it out of the way, maybe from I think 10 to 12, or 10 to 11, that kind of stuff. Coffee, write it, and go. The good news about this novel is because it's not work, right? It's your own passions, your own thing. The night before, I would already have, wow, this idea, and I just can't wait to go to the office and bang it out, And I think that makes life really good, lah. You know,
Mhm, mhm.
whatever, book doesn't sell, book sells, it doesn't matter. I mean, that was a whole fun process. You have an idea, get in the office, get your coffee, and you just bang it out. And wow, well, when you finish that 1,000 words, okay, that's it. That's my quota done for today. Yeah.
So you try not to let these thoughts about, oh, it's not going to sell, interfere
No,
with
no,
the
no,
process.
no. Yeah, I'm very encouraged by people like J.K. Rowling, who said that they sent it to, was it 29 publishers, and it got rejected. And of course, I mean we all know that this is Malaysia, this is Asia. Our publishing industry is not as vibrant, and even then, even in the West, you have, for every one successful author, you got like what, probably 10,000 not so successful, and so on and so forth. So it's not an expectation that I put on myself, and I don't think any local authors should be to bear that kind of burden. You write for the fun of it. I mean, if you sell it, great. If you don't sell it, it's okay. It's, one or two people read, it's okay. That's my minimalist, poor man standard.
That's a good attitude to have. So basically, you went to writing this just for fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just for
Mhm.
fun. Yeah,
Is this your first fiction work, or?
it is. It is. Yeah, but that's part of it, you see. And I went to writing this because I've never written anything before. I mean, I've never written fiction before, and just tell myself it's a bucket list.
Mhm.
Write a novel, and so fine, it's done. And so to anticipate anticipate the question that you may have down the line, do I ever then write another novel?
Mhm.
You see, the second one is always a bit different from the first one. So I would probably say that the drive isn't there as it was with the first one. It's
Mhm.
kind of weird that way. Yeah.
So how is it different from writing your columns and your other
Okay,
yeah.
that's a good question. See, with columns, it is usually an issue, an immediate issue that I want to get on my chest. You know, whatever COVID-19, you know, politics and so forth. So it's something that okay, just go and do it. The novel, on the other hand, is something you need to, you know, tying together 40,000 words. It's different from coming up with 1,000 words standalone and just shipping it off. Right? That's the thing. And of course, with the column, the dynamics are different. It's a weekly thing, and I don't have to do it. There's there's money involved, so so it's not the kind of passionate fun thing as it is with the novel. Because with the column, it's more like a moonlighting thing, you know. And I know that okay, you know, let's just get one out when it gets and so forth. Yeah.
Right. Speaking of which, right? Would you think about writing another one? Another fiction? This time a 3 act structure one?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's definitely not impossible. I mean, you know, but I need to have the ideas, and I realize, and I realized that after that 3 months of flurry, you know, the burst of ideas, it kind of dried up, you know. I don't know why.
It's
It's
normal.
dried up. Yeah.
You're creating something out of nothing.
Yeah. And after that 3 months, after it was written, and I just realized, I don't really have that thing anymore. But yeah, who knows? Maybe it's because during the 3 months I was searching for the story, so that could make a difference. Um, but yeah, I don't have an internal drive right now to actually work on a second novel, unless the first one sells incredibly well, which you know, and so on and so forth. Like, you know,
Can never.
it is not. Yeah, you know, it may happen, may not happen. You know. Yeah.
Mhm. So you decided to publish anyway towards the end. Oh, wait,
Yeah.
wait, wait. Before I ask this question,
Sure.
what's your favorite story among the lot?
Okay, my favorite story is definitely chapter two, and I think many people have echoed the same. It's the story, the very separate like story between the Malay, was it Malay guy or Chinese? Okay, it was the Chinese guy and the Malay girl, and how his father hated both of them for that, and how the father ostracized them and cast them out and so forth, and yet something happened along the line that brought them back together. And of course, the most amazing part of this story is that it's true, and and every main component of that story is actually true. And I recall hearing that about there's almost 20 years ago, and it kind of blew me away. But back then, and I wonder, wow, and somehow I'm when I tell this in training workshops, you can see people's eyes glisten over and saying things like that. So yeah, um, I would say even if people who are watching this, even if you don't read the whole book, at least read chapter two. It's very short, and I think it encapsulates the beauty and yet the trauma of Malaysia, and yet the hope of Malaysia. It's yeah, and the fact that it's a true story makes it even better, I suppose. Yeah.
Right. So you called the book Jampi in the end.
Yeah.
What was the choice? Why did you call it Jampi?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think first of all, because I'm not very good with Malay. I only heard the word Jampi. Can you imagine in 2013? So, so I've been living in Malaysia for
Right.
donkey years, and I never heard the word Jampi, or maybe I heard it, but I never registered until 2013. And 2013 actually was a very tough year for me and for many people in my community. And I just realized that Jampi is it can be both a good thing and a bad thing. I mean, of course, the original connotation is that it's a bad thing. Oh, it's cursed, But you can be spell cast in a good way, I suppose. You watch Cinderella and so on and so forth. So I was figuring, yeah, the notion of Jumpy both describes the pain and the almost the curse, you could say, the burden of Malaysia, but it also has a notion of hope there. That hey, you can be spell cast the other way around. Of course, spellcast, you don't need to invoke gods and so on and so forth, but as you no, the novel is very, it's very a lot of spiritual items there. But it's also that we can spellcast each other back, back to hope, back to redemption, and back to life and so on.
Right, right. So now, finally, to the publishing question.
Right.
Once you finish the book,
Yeah.
did you like decide, oh, naturally decided, okay, I got to publish this, or it was just, how did publishing come about since you decided to write for fun anyway?
Yeah, definitely. When I started it, I wasn't sure I would hit more than 30,000 words. So I was okay, let's right. But after I finished 30,000 words, I feel, hey, the length works, So there was no downside to just sending the draft off to publishers, and so I decided, hey, why not try it? I mean, again, there's no downside. You don't have to. And of course, at this point, I told myself I would never pay to publish. And well, I think many local authors who have been kind of examining the publishing scene, that you come across people who ask you for $5,000 just to get 500 copies out, and that's like,
That's, yeah,
that's
not good, not good.
that's not good. So yeah, and I sent it out, and again, I was very encouraged by J.K. Rowling's history, and I set up this list. Okay, I sent to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 20 publishers, and I would keep track of all the rejections.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, that's my hall of pain, hall of shame, but whatever. But it was fun, and I sent it to literary agents, and finally, it was quite amazing. After 3 months, a Singapore publisher actually expressed interest in it, and we had a Skype chat, and yeah, he said that he would publish it in about 7, 8 months' time. Yeah.
Oh, wait. So it went, because I remember you vaguely saying that it fell through and all that.
Yeah,
Is
exactly.
that
So
something else?
no, it's the same. Okay, the
Or
story
did I
isn't
spoil
over.
this for everyone?
No, you didn't. Okay. Let's talk about it. Okay, the Singapore publisher said yes. Okay, um, and it said it was going to come out in March 2019. Okay, which is 8 months later, because he said yes in August 2018, and said okay, we'll get it out in March 2019. All right, so okay, fine, 8 months or whatever, 6, 7 months, fine. So let's do it. And it was good. I mean, it was legit. I mean, I didn't care about the royalties, like, it's a small sum and so on and so forth. Maybe some book launching keynote and so okay, fine. So we're happy. But as things happen, March 2019, push. Oh, one delay, push to June 2019. Okay, fine. Push to August 2019, and then I'm going like, okay, what's happening? And I did tell, hey, I mean, there's still the issue of integrity. When you say something, you mean it, and da 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 da. And the final nail in the coffin for this project, I mean, for the publishing thing, was that in March or February this year, COVID hit, right? COVID-19 hit, and the publisher, says that, I just can't do it anymore because the business, is dying and so on and so forth. So fine. So eventually I decided, okay, all right, I won't bother. I mean, the draft has been sitting with me for 1.5 years by now, so why not just self-publish? Yeah. So that's the not so happy ending to the publishing story. Yeah. But having said that, well, it can still be published, hard copy. So I'm still open to that, lah. Yeah.
Yeah. So your self-publishing journey, how did you start it and how did it go?
Well, okay, I did the usual thing. I Googled it up and found a lot of options. And as you probably know, and many authors know, there's so many options out there. Wow, I didn't know there were so many options out there, and many of them are pretty expensive. It looks like the author has to, has to cough up their own cash. And I said, no, 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 no. I'd rather not publish it. But then, yeah, I came across Smashwords, and I think Smashwords was interesting because it's very easy, right? It's very easy and it's accessible. And I think the thing that pushed me to finally do it in April of this year was because of the MCO. Yeah, it was going like, I mean, come on, no one's gonna go out and buy books anyway, and even without the MCO, books are so hard to buy anyway, and so on. Yeah. So Smashwords was fun. The editing was interesting, and the process didn't take long. only complicated part was that the U.S. taxing and so on and so forth. But yeah, but that was fine. Yeah,
That's not my
um,
favorite part either.
yeah, I didn't like that. But I was quite fortunate in the fact that I had experience with that texting when I was doing the Medium, Medium.com. They have this publishing partnership thing. So I had some experience there. So I had the text number already. So, but yeah, I mean, this is probably a PSA. If you're a local author trying to get published with Smashwords, it's gonna be a bit of that taxation stuff which you have to figure out. But yeah, I'm glad I found Smashwords and I'm glad I managed to get it out. And what's great about Smashwords is that you get to update the version every day. You can improve your draft and update the latest version, so that's great. Yeah, which I
Hmm.
wouldn't be able to do if in a hard copy. Yeah.
Right. And the cover also, you did it yourself or did you get someone to do
Oh
it?
yeah.
Everything is all DIY?
The cover. What's interesting was that the Singapore publisher, when we were working on it, almost to publish, they suggested a set of photographs which I didn't quite like. Um, they made it look like a batik. It was like a batik thing. I was batik in Jampi doesn't seem to fit. So I mean I went to flickriver.com and I found some photos which I thought were suitable. So I asked the photographer, can I use it? And they're all very nice people. They say, yeah, go ahead, use it. So yeah, so the photo you see at the front is actually from Flick River, and I can't remember for the photographer unfortunately, but yeah, it's a DIY thing. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So how does it feel after you publish it and you release it to the world? You, how did you get sales and readers and things like that?
Well, yeah, straightforward. I had some experience boosting Facebook pages when I was helping my wife publicize her art classes, and that happened in 201 late 2018. So yeah, so the channels I have very straightforward. WhatsApp, emails, and I set up a Facebook page just for the book itself. And I'm still learning how to do it. And I suppose the key with marketing is that you just got to, repetition and variety is the key now. So
Mm-hmm.
I have to keep thinking of different things to put on the page at least once a week. And and of course you have to repeat it. I have on Twitter and so on and so forth. But I admit, as a private person, I also don't like to see the same ad come up every time. So I admit this part I'm not very good with. So my pictures are probably maximum once in 2 weeks. So I don't expect to get some fantastic things like that. But yeah, but the boosting is helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that expensive. I think you for about $40 of 50 RM, you can reach probably 1,000 or 3,000 people more. And of course, what's fun about boosting is you get to choose your, the demographic, and so it's fun. You can play around. Okay, only people above 20, or something like that. Only housewives, only yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah, you're one of the rare authors I know that has taken to marketing so happily.
Yeah,
Most of
yeah,
them like marketing, and that includes me.
yeah. A bit of encouragement there. It's the fun thing about this marketing stuff is that there's absolutely no downside, but like playing a lottery, right? You never know. And a few success. I mean, a few happy stories here is that suddenly a stranger would just leave a message. Hey, I'd like to do a review of your book. Can I have can I and yeah, why not? And this is completely unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
And then some person will suddenly, hey, I just want to buy, 10 copies. Can I have? Yeah, sure. And so on and so forth. And of course, when you go to Twitter, Twitter is really, it's non-bell curve. Twitter is like, something can happen tomorrow or over the next 10 years. And it's a way that authors can experience unpredictability as well. You just go out there, try something, anything might happen, nothing might happen, but again, there's no downside. That's yeah.
That's so cool. So, throughout this whole adventure, what has it taught you?
Wow. Okay. From the marketing point, yeah, that's fun. The whole mini and entrepreneur section, that taught me a little bit, and how difficult it is to actually, yeah, even get one sale is difficult. Yeah, so one of the perks of doing this is that every now and then you get your email, boom, oh, one purchase notification from Smashwords. Wow, that
It's like
really makes your
wonderful,
day,
I
right?
know.
Wow, what? But that's one. Two, definitely, I when I finish this thing, I really envy and I marvel that again, people like Rowling and Mitchell, and even you've written like what, probably you've written like a dozen books or something like that.
Yeah, but I don't market them. That's the problem.
Well, okay.
I hate marketing so much, I avoid it, and I should
Exactly. Yeah.
learn from you in that sense. In fact, I wanted to ask you later after this conversation
Sure,
about it,
sure.
but let's continue. So
Uh, Definitely, I've learned to appreciate the grueling task of writing it, lah, and coming up with those plots. I mean, I've always admired, Hollywood movies, and where the plot is, you just cannot, you can't imagine how the plot twists, right? I mean, especially Netflix. Okay, Hollywood movies not so much. With Hollywood movies, you can expect, a certain formula there, but in Netflix, especially there are many movies. I mean, there are many shows on Netflix where the plot just completely unexpected, and when it happens, wow, and even now, I really don't know how to do plots. I'm absolutely clueless. And one of the stuff that I was doing actually was sometimes I just sat there in my office with my notebook, and I'm writing down the characters, and I'm just staring at it, and okay, what happens next? That's the thing. And again, so I admire, and I'm quite amazed by people who come up with brilliant, screenwriting and plots and that
mhm.
kind of thing.
So after this adventure in publishing, what are your next plans?
Well, I think I'm gonna just, probably just enjoy, next couple of months with and see what happens to the book. I'm actually looking forward for a few reviews, possible. I'll probably try to get it, probably, when I have the, when I overcome my laziness, I'll probably again try to send it to a few publishers and so on and so forth. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I don't have any concrete plans to write another novel, unless and until something major happens again, maybe. Yeah. So yeah, because one of the things that pushed the first novel was May 2018,
Mhm.
and that you could say that was the ultimate Malaysian event. Yeah. So yeah, until something similar happens, hey, who knows? I mean, some people are saying there could be a G, there could be another election anytime soon. So yeah, you never know.
I don't think I want to go through
Not
another
not
round.
during this time, please. No, no, no.
But yeah, so before I end the interview, what
Sure.
advice would you give Malaysian writers who are struggling to write their novel or getting it out there?
Yeah, I, I, I think the most important thing would be to, first of all, love what you're doing, and it's always the same advice I would give to PhD students. If you're doing it out of a duty, or if it's work, it's not gonna happen. So first of all, love what you're doing. Find a topic that you love, and you know, um, and once you have that, it will not be a core, right? Or is it a chore? It won't be a uh, something you force yourself to do. It just happens gradually. So yeah, find what you love to do, and things will come naturally.
Oh, cool. So before I end this interview, would
Sure,
you like
sure.
to add anything else?
Um, yeah, okay. I thought of, someone asked me why I why I charged why I put the price of the book at 288 USD.
Yeah, 288.
288 USD, and I was
Fun,
thinking,
is it?
yeah, I was, and I actually came up with the idea. 288 USD, when you convert it to ringgit, it's about 12ish, right? And that's $12. And I just had a bowl of bak kut teh yesterday, and a bak kut teh in Malaysia costs about 12 bucks, and I just occurred to me, yeah, I've priced the novel at one portion of bak kut teh, which is kind of like my favorite thing here. And bak kut teh is mentioned in the novel as well. So yeah, so it's
I
it's a very Malaysian price.
Is it? I actually thought it's because of 88 or fat fat.
Yeah, yeah, that's part of it as well, right? Fat, Chinese, yeah. That's
All
all.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'm just
Thanks, Liz. Yeah.
yeah. So thanks for talking to us,
Thank you.
and
Thank you.
good luck on your publishing journey.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right.
And yeah. Okay.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the interview. I really had a lot of fun talking with Alwyn about his journey. What I really appreciate about Alwyn's creative process is that he just went ahead and did it. He didn't, bog himself down with perfectionism, and he didn't question himself or doubted his ability. He just went ahead and did it, wrote the book, sold it, and just learned along the way. He made many mistakes along the way, many challenges, but he still went ahead and do it. So, in many ways, this is how our creative journeys are like. Too many of us, and we're back. This is what you get when you work in a noisy cafe. But like I was saying, we creatives tend to be bogged down with perfectionism. And what I admire about Elwin is it doesn't let that get in the way, and there's something we should learn from that as well. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and there'll be more interviews lined up. So do subscribe to my YouTube channel and like, because if you don't like, then YouTube won't show it to other people, algorithm and stuff. So I appreciate if you like and subscribe. Thank you.